you send me swinging? Oh, you send me swinging.
How come I'm not remembering? I don't think I remember what,
I wait for the day.
Who is that?
Mint Condition.
Right. That's true.
I love me some Mint Condition.
Absolutely. Huge fans of them. I can't, even though I couldn't remember who sung that song. I knew the song, but it's fine. I'm old. Praise the Lord, niggas.
Praise the Lord, niggas.
Welcome back to another episode of Getting Grown with Jade and Keia, where we discuss all things adulting, the tests, the trials, the triumphs, the twists, the turns, the taxes, the tolls, all of that. We're here to just try to figure it out together as one big, bad brigade of fantastic Black women.
Amen.
That's it. So what's up, sis? Happy Martin Luther the King Day to you.
That's right. Happy Martin Luther the King. Let's try to be good people today and every day.
And every day, please. That would be most helpful.
I'll probably watch the Boondocks episode where Martin Luther King came back. It's an honor.
I've never seen
it was niggas twerking and eating McDonald's. When Martin Luther King came back, he was like, I think they had him frozen and he was in a coma. I think he was in a coma and he came back, and it was a totally different day than it was when he passed, and niggas was twerking and eating McDonald's and doing all kinds of stuff. And they were trying to Huey was trying to make it a thing, and people were not showing respect. And he got irritated when he was trying to get everybody's attention. And he was like, would you ignorant niggas please shut the hell up?
My goodness.
It's one of my faves. But anyway, how are you?
I'm all right. I can't complain. I mean, ain't nobody listening. No way. So yeah, I'm fine. Just trying to keep it moving. I got tons of work to do, but I'm happy to be here and happy to be doing it. How are you?
I'm cool. Did all my adulting yesterday. I went to Trader Joe's and the receipt looked like a CVS receipt at the end. We had to stock the crib.
You got money.
No, sis. I needed groceries. And I have a family and I don't have no choices. So went and did that. And plus, looking at a fully stocked fridge is like watching porn for me. I get really excited when I open my fridge and it's clean and like fully stocked and organized. That does something to my spirit. But anywho,
yeah, man,
we are here. I was getting ready to quote a XD. Nope, we are here and we are present and accounted for. The other day, XD said, "We're here, we're queer, buy us a light beer." And I was.
Did you get that from like Will and Grace
probably
or something?
One of them.
That sounds like something Jack would say.
Yeah, probably because it had like a cheer and a clap to it. But
oh my God,
that is actually the wrong show. But we're here, like Keia said, for another episode where we get grown and figure out how to adult. You want?
Yeah, happy 3-day weekend, everybody.
Because we cherish those these days.
I'm truly grateful and very much looking forward to being able to get back in my bed. So yeah, man. You want to get right into it so we can get this show on the road?
Yeah, let's take out some trash.
Let's do it.
The first one I put on the list because it made me LOL.
Okay.
Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin are joining marriage boot camp.
Are they married?
No.
Okay.
He still ain't proposed to her.
She's proposed to him like 3 times now, twice?
Is it twice?
I thought she's done it at least twice.
Oh, Chrissy girl. Well.
I mean, I could have made that up. Hopefully I didn't. Hopefully I did. But I don't know why I thought it was. She did like a big proposal, like I remember on the show, but I felt like before then she had just like asked him, and he was just
mad
like,
times.
oh.
Mad times.
Right.
They've been together for mad long. So he has yet to propose to her.
I love Chrissy. I mean, I like her. I really enjoy Chrissy. I think she's stunning. Same. And I mean, maybe I'm just not set up like she is because I don't think I want anything this bad. I really don't. Like, aside from like salvation and
health, wealth,
aside from salvation and maybe like a zero balance on my student loans, I don't feel like I want anything as bad as Chrissy wants Jim Jones. And I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
That is the epitome of loving his dirty draws.
I don't get it. I really don't get it.
I guess it's not for us to get. I don't know. But I just want you, girl, like, stop doing, like, I just don't want these things for her. I just think she deserves better. Maybe one day we'll have a discussion on women proposing to men. That might lead for good.
That's going to be a very brief discussion as far as I'm concerned.
No.
But we can have it. I'm open to having it. I'm not closed. I'm open.
I mean, it's probably just going to be called, the episode will be called No.
Well, listen, I'm not here to tell the girls what to do, but I can speak for me and my house. Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what else they have really beat us over the head with this relationship. We're going on a smooth, it's 10 years since we've been contending with
10, 12.
James and Chrissy. Yeah. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
They just gonna do all the shows.
They're gonna do all of them. They're gonna do Love and Hip Hop. They're gonna have their own.
I'm not mad at them and their coin. You're supposed to pursue the coin, secure the bag. I fully.
But pursue the lady.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation.
Niggas, these niggas get too comfortable. We're gonna have we're gonna have a full conversation about this. But anyway,
about niggas getting comfortable. It could be a 3-part series.
It can be like a New Edition movie,
a trilogy.
Let's do it. Lord of Thrones, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Ring, whatever the shit is called.
Lord of Thrones.
Lord of Thrones. That's what these niggas think they are. Wait. The Lords of Thrones.
Let me do this right quick because I forgot. I should have done it at the beginning of the show. Right. This weekend, I had the privilege of being a part of a chat and chew panel. It was sponsored by an organization called She.
Ooh.
They're based in the DMV. We had a panel. Awesome. Brilliant Black women coming together and just having real conversation about real life issues, and hopefully offering each other insight and perspective as we kind of navigate the different areas of our lives. I was on the panel with 3 awesome women, and I posted it on my Instagram a few weeks ago, and the event was actually this past Saturday. It was a huge success. So I wanted to thank the ladies of She for having me, and we had an awesome conversation. I also got a chance to meet the other panelists, who are awesome women as well. Yeah, so I just wanted to shout you guys out. I wanted to say it at the beginning of the show, and I forgot, but that whole conversation about niggas getting too comfortable is something that we touched on at the panel. So it brought it back to my memory. I will hopefully... I'm going to leave some information about the She organization. Not some information, but I'll leave the links to the She organization and the other panelists in the description box. You guys follow these awesome women out. Follow them and on your social media. And yeah, we can kind of keep the conversation going. So shout out to everyone who came. We had a few listeners from the show in the house.
Nice.
Everyone was really, really, it was just really great to meet all of you guys. So thanks for having me, and we're looking forward to continuing to do stuff like this in the future.
Absolutely. We got some fun stuff coming, too.
Lots of fun.
Keia and I will both be there. Tons of fun.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, speaking of tons of fun.
Mm-hmm.
That was a terrible segue.
Okay.
Also, at the beginning, I told you I went to Crystal's house this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And she made me watch some show. I don't know what the thing is called. 2 Tons of Fun, My Big Ass Family. I can't remember what it's called. Everybody in the family was over 400 pounds. And it was on TLC. I have to find the title of it so I can tell you all what it's called. I mean, I'm going to be tuned in every Wednesday. It is fascinating. It's fascinating. Like, they got one lady in the bed. She's been in the bed for mad long. And the family comes to her and takes care of her. Her sister came to her and brought her groceries in a hot plate and a skillet. And my girl sat in the bed and made nachos. Like, like ground beef. Like she cooked ground beef on her bed in the pan. She seasoned it with ketchup. Lots and lots of ketchup. And we were like, what? And her sister said there's things she refuses to buy for her, but I guess she's gotten to a point where she's like, I can't take all this lady stuff away from her, but don't bring her no more bottles of ketchup. That's nothing but sugar. It's nothing but sugar. Like, if we just start with the diet, that's what I'm working on with the middle. But anyway, I just wanted to put everybody onto the show, even though I don't know the name of it. It's on TLC.
All right.
And it's interesting. More trash. So obviously we know about the outrage of the H&M hoodie. And if you're anything like me, you are tired of our peers photoshopping all this stuff onto this hoodie. putting this little boy on event flyers.
Oh my God.
So many things. But a huge reason why I'm tired is because the mother responded. Did you see it?
I did see her response.
What did you think?
And I mean, I think that she's extraordinarily selfish and a bit irresponsible, but I mean, she's within her right to behave the way she wants and say what she wants. I do feel like, I mean, she's entitled to her opinion. If she thinks that this is all hoopla and we're doing too much, she's entitled to that feeling. But we are also entitled to feel that she's trash. Right.
I agree. I totally agree.
I mean, and I know that there's context and things that I probably don't have knowledge of. And we can all make, assumptions and try to figure out or rationalize why she would feel this way. But I feel like that would be a waste of time and energy. I do not agree with her. And I guess that's really all I got. But I mean, that's her child. So she could do what she wants.
You're right. It's her kid at the end of the day. But one thing she stated, which was grossly inaccurate, well, she said they don't deal with racism. She said that's not a part of where they at.
Where are they?
In Europe. I can't remember where. But they're in Europe.
Go ahead. I was going to say the thing about that is, I do feel like there are some, it's evident that she doesn't have knowledge or appreciation for the history of race and race relations in this country. I could totally see how she would be like, that's not my business. But
girl, it started in Europe.
I mean, I just feel like we're talking about the diaspora here. So,
right.
Kind of like what's going on in the United States. It may not affect you directly, but I mean,
just a tidbit. It didn't start in the United States. It started with the niggas who came from Europe.
Listen.
It started over there. They left their land, went to Africa, and boom, we everywhere now.
I mean, we can. This is also another conversation that we can continue to have over and over again.
Yeah.
About how, racism has impacted us, like racism as a global concept, right?
Right.
I do think that that's something that we should absolutely discuss. And it's something that's going to be a more necessary, especially given race relations in this nation are kind of spilling out into like global context, right? So like the people are starting to feel ways about us. And I mean, they always have, but I mean, with the behavior of this administration, it's something that's getting worse and worse. So, I do feel like this is something that we got to talk about. I'm not entirely sure the platform that would be most useful or appropriate for this conversation, but this lady, this lady, man,
we're gonna talk about it. We're also going to save that discussion,
man.
But in response to all of that, your good sis Rachel popped up.
I don't have any sisters by the name of Rachel. Who are you referring to exactly? I'm sorry. Please help me understand. I don't have any sisters named Rachel.
And I don't want no fucking Rachel Dolezal jokes in my mentions because I've had them enough. I've had them enough. Okay? I get it. I'm fair skinned. I don't look like that lady. So everybody relax. But
You don't look like that lady.
Yeah, well, you're one of the, like, many people have decided.
I don't think that you look like Rachel Dolezal.
Thank you, because that's an insult. But she made a hoodie.
Why is she making things? Why won't she stop making things?
Crochet weaves.
I can't do anything about her existence. It's really not my place. But why does she continue to this do-it-yourself thing that she does? Like, what is this thing?
I just want to let you all know that I came out with my own line.
What is that? What is on this hoodie?
Hold on. I'll tell you now. Let's go to the images. Coolest prince in the hood.
I'm sorry. What?
Coolest prince in the hood.
Is that the name of the, what does that mean?
Because the original shirt said coolest monkey in the jungle. And so she
oh my God, we're done here. Can we move on to the next topic, please? I just
always.
I would rather not. I just would rather not. No.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so next, the next one on trash is Coco, Ice-T's wife. This is big trash to me.
Oh God. I'm tired. I don't even know what this is about. I'm tired.
She wants the world to know that she paved the way.
Stop right there.
She didn't
pave the way for what? She paved the way for what?
The thick models. Let's go to her Instagram post.
Excuse me.
Let's just read it straight from the lips.
Coco paved the way for what?
Or the no lips. Coco says, I would like to shed light to almost 21 years of modeling. I don't post much about it, and new followers don't even know that I had a career in modeling. And just see me as a wife, mother, and someone that was on reality TV. But just like every actor, singer, entertainer, I'm proud of what I've done. I feel people should know it wasn't easy. I helped pave the way for thick girls during the skinny genre, during the Kate Moss days, what they call the waif era, to be noticed as beautiful. This was back before social media, when magazines were popping, back before Kim K, Nicki Minaj, and I mention them because young people need pop culture as the history makers, but they need to know it started somewhere before them. This was also back before the plastic surgery craze. What? During my time, it was pretty much J-Lo that was making waves in the derriere phenomenon. To have booty, it was considered to be fat in the modeling world, but I helped change the minds of what booty was. Today, it's a normal thing to see all different shapes and sizes. No one even thinks about it anymore. I helped history. I don't want to toss it aside like it was nothing. I'd like to think some of my modeling was meaningful. After tons of calendars, DVDs, over 100 magazine covers and editorials, words mean things, I'm still standing. Thank you for all years of support. Power to the booty and strong, healthy women. This pic is from one of my calendars. And she posted a picture of modeling one of her editorials in front of a lime green motorcycle, wearing a lime green G-string and lime green string at the top. It doesn't look like it's anything but a string. This is not slut shaming, just so you all know. This is facts. And yeah, my girl said that she paved the way for the thick models.
Okay.
So, she told all these black women out here that she paved the way for the thick models.
I'm so tired of white people feeling like they have to. Girl, who are you?
Right.
First of all,
Nobody knew you.
Nobody cares, honestly. And if she thinks that without her, there would be no appreciation for booties, she's out of her mind. And what the hell is she talking about? People was thick before Coco was Coco.
Nigga, we been thick.
Was she born thick? Or did she create her thick? Yeah, I want her to say something to people who came out of the womb thick.
Who's Josephine Baker? Who is that? Because I know she came well before Coco.
But not even that. But I just feel like, okay, so she wants everyone to, say her name or whatever. Okay, Coco, I don't know what you... First of all, I'm tired.
Your name. Coco, you sound dumb as hell.
What the heck? Oh my God.
And then lastly in the trash, Offset got Cardi B's name tattooed on his neck.
All right. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, I guess that's nice.
Yes. I love Almanzar Belcalis Almanzar. But I want her to accept better in her life.
I mean, was it some sort of apology?
I'm assuming. I think this is like the new nigga way of apologizing. I'm gonna get your name tattooed on my neck. So I want them to know it's not real until I get your name tattooed on my neck. Fuck all these sex tapes and all of these videos that keep surfacing of me having sex with other women. But I just want you to know it's real because I got your name tattooed on my neck, not their name.
All right. Well, okay. Let's
nigga logic. But so that's all the trash that I have. You have anything?
No, I feel like that was plenty. I don't need any more trash today.
I know it's a holiday, and on the holidays it'd be mad trash outside because the garbage men ain't working. They can't come till tomorrow. Niggas have functions and things. So I figured I'd make the trash pile high and funky today.
Can I ask the question? The more I sit with this, the more that I grow concerned. So
please,
what is the basis? Like, why is, if Coco was to just say, I'm Coco and sorry, I made a name for myself as a woman, as a thicker woman model. And I want you guys to know that I did that. If she were to just say that, that's fine. But why is it that she has to
I paved the way.
Like, what is the
pay respect?
What is the girl, why do you want to make yourself a legend? You know what I'm saying? Like, Oprah doesn't have to go around and say, this is what, when she accepted her Cecil B. DeMille Award, one of the things that was so oh my God, that struck me the most was Oprah could have gotten up there and read her resume. She could have gotten up there and said, when I did this, it was because of that. And I did this despite all of that, because she has receipts and can actually show and prove. We can actually see her legacy.
Oprah can get up there and say, do you see all these talk shows?
This is
all
me.
These bitches.
Everybody's exactly. Oprah could do that. But her acceptance speech, she didn't at all do that because it wasn't even necessary. She made it about what she wanted to do, the work she wanted to do going forward, how she wanted to help and continue to build and grow things. And she talked about how her life has been shaped, how that's informed, the choices that she made, the things that she's been able to do throughout her career, and what that's going to mean for her going forward. And that is the way that, you know what I'm saying? If you want to get up there and have somebody, if you want to tell somebody, put some respect on your name, I feel like that's the way that you do it. You have receipts, you have things to back you up. Coco posting a picture in a G-string and then telling the girls, I'm here. You're here because of me. Ma'am, let me get you a seat. Okay. Let me get you one that reclines. You need to lay back. You need to sit back and think about why this is just girl.
Foolish.
Girl. And I mean, why do we, she didn't even have to bring J-Lo into this.
She
talk
didn't.
About the phenomenon of the derriere. I would have all of you to know that butts have been butts long before white people started paying attention to them. Are you kidding me?
Sir Mix-a-Lot came out. Sir Mix-a-Lot's song came out in the 80s? Is it in the late 80s?
So tired. They make me so tired. We can't have nothing.
No,
Coco
never have anything.
Coco been in the gym doing squats for 30 years, trying to look like what some women get up in the morning looking like, and still eating, beans and rice and gravy and potatoes and biscuits. And Coco is out here working hard for what just comes naturally to many, many women around the world.
It's 2018. I just looked it up. So Mix-a-Lot came out with Baby Got Back in 92.
But even aside from Baby Got Back, I'm talking about history. Right.
No, I know. Baby Got Back is history. No, but I agree with you. What I'm saying is that he praised this in 92. Women been thick and been praised for being thick. And let's just talk, like, we can get into it with the conversation about slavery and about, you know, what we said we were going to talk about. But black slaves were raped by white men for so long because because we were disrespected, but because of our physiques. We have been out here. We have been thick since the beginning of time. This is nothing new. And you've paved the way for absolutely nothing.
Why do you feel like you have to pave the way to do anything? Just be the best cocoa tea or whatever the hell that is, girl. Just be out here. And
because people who like actually pave the way don't say they pave the way.
Exactly. Like, you don't be out here like, what the heck, man? Get somewhere and sit down and do some work. Like, okay. All right, girl.
I blame Ice-T. But anyway, that's it.
I blame
Ice-T. I blame Ice-T.
I blame Coco. She got to stand up in this one. She's just gonna have to prove to me.
She does. But he's put all these foolish thoughts in her head that it's okay for her to speak. Why just shut her up?
Be an actress and a model. Okay. And I'm not saying
actress.
I'm not, if that's what she says she is, I mean, that's her right. But I'm just saying, I mean, I want to talk about.
Okay, I'm a queen.
The work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that acting and modeling is not work. But I'm just saying you cannot compare, like, I'm getting tired. But
it's so many things to unfight. It's a big old onion of bullshit. So many layers of.
We have a lot more show to go. And
we do.
Coco she's drained my battery. So we got to let's move on. Shout out to my sis, please.
My sis is popping right now. Like,
shout out to my sis. All right, I'm glad this is our shout out to my sis. It actually makes me very happy. We got a listener email. It says, "Hey y'all, first of all, thanks for the podcast. It changed my life for the better, and I appreciate both of you for your time, dedication, realness, and most of all, your hilarity. Continue blessings to both of you. Blessings to you for listening. I'd like to shout out my girl, Damyionne Brown. She is a New Orleans native who is currently a first grade teacher in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and she's the author of the children's book, Aida Brown Finds Her Crown."
Let's do it.
Aida, I love it. Aida is a little black girl who goes on a journey to find out what makes her special. This book encourages little girls and boys to believe in themselves and be their own kind of beautiful. The Book of Aida series has a second book, Aida Brown's Big Sister Crown, that's currently available for pre-order. Aida Brown Finds Her Crown is currently available everywhere books are sold. Damyionne also does parties in the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas that include story time, a live Aida doll, photo keepsake for all the kids, arts and crafts, crown souvenir for all the kids, a bundle for the birthday girl or boy, and books for sale at a discounted price. Keia, I know you'll like to buy books as gifts for little kids, so go ahead and add this book to the list. I'm going to add this book to the list for my child for sure. Thank you so much, Bree, for writing in and letting us know. We're going to make sure we put all of the links in the description box. You can get t-shirts, dolls. They're all available at thebookofaida.com. And there's also an email and Instagram and Twitter. The Instagram is The Book of Aida, and that's AIDA. So we will make sure that we put all of that information in the description box. I think this is absolutely dope.
I agree.
I think it's amazing. And I'm always looking for books to help empower my little black child. So this is for all of you out there, nieces, nephews, children, little brothers, little sisters. Make sure you guys check out the link in the description box, and let's get this black business popping.
Let's do it. Indubitably. All right. Kitchen table talk. Gather around, boys and girls, ladies and germs. What are you snacking on today, sis?
This blood orange sangria seltzer water.
Oh, blood orange sangria seltzer water. What kind of fancy seltzer water is that?
It's just it's the Polar brand. The Polar brand seltzer from the supermarket, but it's blood orange sangria. I saw it and I snatched it real fast.
That is very, very, very wealthy. Seltzer.
I was like a child. It was cheap, but it's just delicious. I love seltzer water.
That's
what you got?
Nothing.
Okay.
No snack.
Cool.
Because Like what? What is food? Anyway.
What's food?
I want to talk. I got a few very important women in my life sent me the very same text message yesterday. And they were all telling me that I needed to read an article that was posted on theroot.com. And I read it, and it really kind of punched me in my stomach. I said, it's the realest thing that I've read in a very long time. It's an article by a woman by the name of Janelle Harris. It's called For Colored Girls in Their 30s and 40s Who Feel Like Life May Have Passed Them By. I will leave a link to the article in the description box. But it's a really, a very honest story. Janelle shares about a conversation that she had with one of her girlfriends about time and timelines. As we're socialized to plan out the different phases of our lives, but oftentimes our plans don't come together. When I say oftentimes, I'm talking like a good 70% of the time. Things don't go according to plan. And that's cute when we're 22. But the older we get, we begin to value and engage with time very differently. And it's easy to feel like we're either wasting time or have wasted too much time, that we don't have a lot of time left. And it's hard to manage these feelings all while working toward our goals. A lot of times we find ourselves feeling very frustrated and stressed, especially since time is literally beyond our control. It's not something that we can stop or hold on to, put away for later, borrow it from a neighbor. Like it's just something that, is here and then it's not. And I don't know, I can speak personally. And I don't know. I mean, I am getting older, but I still don't feel like I'm old. But I hear, my friends and people who are my peers and counterparts are dealing with a lot of things. People are losing their parents. People are losing their spouses to death and sickness and accidents and tragedy. Family members, close family members, and it puts things in perspectives. We thought we have, a lot of times we think, I have plenty of time to do X, Y, Z, or I have plenty of time to do that. But life is showing us that, it's not always promised that we'll get to do the things that we say we're going to do. And sometimes thinking about that adds this layer of pressure to how we navigate our day-to-day lives. So I thought it would be useful for us to talk about time and our expectations and the times we felt like we're late to the party, or hell, like our invitation has been rescinded or lost in the mail. And we're stuck at the house trying to get ready for the party, or ready for this life that we've always seen for ourselves and visualize for ourselves, but still feel like we don't necessarily, haven't quite arrived yet. Janelle frames this in a way that I thought would make for a useful conversation. So I'm going to read a quote, and maybe before I do that, I'm going to ask you, sis, what are the ways that you've dealt with time and timeline, or have you felt like a betrayal of a timeline, or a timeline that you set for yourself and didn't realize, feeling like it's too late, feeling like you're behind the curve or not doing so well? Are there ways that you've experienced that in your life, and how's that made you feel?
So many ways. Career-wise, I've spoken so many times about feeling like I've been a late bloomer career-wise, because for the longest I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, but I knew that I was the type of person who couldn't sit in a job or couldn't sit in a career with something that I wasn't fully fulfilled or satisfied in. And so I'm glad that I found that, and I'm working towards that. But a lot of times I do feel like, well, damn, like it took me a really long time to figure that out. And I've got peers, people I've gone to school with and everything, who have not only figured out what their careers are, but have flourished in them, have been working in them for some time. They're very set and solid in what that is. And it's made me at times question myself and be like, well, what's your problem? You know what I'm saying? Why couldn't you figure it out like that? But I just realized, I'm like, there's some stuff that's just not for everybody. But I felt like I've been behind the curve when it comes to that. Even pissing away my 20s and saving money and fixing credit and building savings thing. And as I'm getting older and making plans for these things and doing this now, sometimes I kick myself because I'm like, you could have been doing this shit 10 years ago and this is where you would be. But we'll get to how I resolve those thoughts. But yes, those are some of the ways in which I felt like I might be behind the curve.
Yeah.
What about you?
I totally can agree with that. Academically and professionally, in undergrad, I had set my goal was to have, my PhD by 30. And then I looked up and found myself in the first year of my PhD program, turning 30 that year, being one of the older girls in the program, and having to manage that, and honestly, not really thinking about it at that point, but I guess I thought about it now. So some of the people who, even your mentors and, professional mentors, people who I've looked up to, other academics, other women academics, and, feeling like I was just starting out and they're like well situated and very successful in their careers and in their research agendas and the work that they're doing. And then learning later on that we're, 3 to 4 years apart in age, and me feeling like it's going to take a while for me to catch up. I definitely feel like because I was in school, I was working all while I was in school. So I was building that professional experience while I was also getting my education, but still feeling like I have a lot of time to make up for, like I've lost a lot of time.
Yeah.
And that pertains, not only in like professionally, I feel like I'm working as hard as I'm working right now because I feel like I have a long way to go and a short way to get there. Not a lot of time to get there, I should say. And I feel like I got to rush and work as hard as I got, and that's not only in terms of making a name for myself professionally in the field that I work in, but also financially. Like, I feel like working really hard because I feel like I need to put money away and save, not only for right now, but save for retirement. I have people who I graduated undergrad with, that they started working right after undergrad, as did I. But, my setup was a little different, but they started working full-time jobs and have been, contributing to retirement for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years now, and have been, saving and are now like closing on homes and just I feel like they're further along and ahead of me financially. So that's definitely something that I'm dealing with and working through. Personally, I feel like I'm arriving now, just with regard to like perspective wise, like having a full sense of who I am, and being okay with that. And I struggle with comparison and trying to be who I thought I needed to be versus just being myself, and feeling like, I'm grateful for this awareness and this perspective. But now I feel like, okay, now that I have it, how do I, operate and exist, in the different spaces in my life and stand in this awareness in, meaningful and useful ways. So, in being 35 and just coming to this realization, I feel like, is that on time? Is that late? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how much time do I have left? That kind of thing. With regards to relationships, I don't have a lot of experience there at all because I've kind of been focused on me and other things, and in a way, and because I don't really feel like I've had lots of good models and all that. I've done the situationship thing for way too long, and now I feel like I don't have any. I feel really late. I just say I feel really late with regard to that, and tired, and over it. With it when it comes to that. So yeah, there are numbers of ways that I'm feeling like I struggle with this, and feeling like time. Like I feel like I can hear the clock ticking. Right. Not only with respect to like, when certain things are going to happen in my personal life and when certain things are going to come together professionally and academically, but just when is it going to not be, when am I not going to feel this constant state of like stress and anxiety about this, about these kinds of feelings?
Right, because it shifts too. Like I spoke to you career wise, and spoke to everybody career wise, and told you guys how I was feeling left behind with that. But personally, on the other hand, you know what I'm saying? Where people talk about marriage and they talk about kids. Yeah, I'm married. Yeah, I got a kid. But then there are other things where I feel like I might have fallen behind. I should have done a lot more traveling in my 20s when I could, you know what I'm saying? And I've traveled a good bit around the United States, but as far as international travel and, just living my best girl life, I'm gonna let you all know. I ain't never been to Miami. And I ain't never been to Vegas.
I've never been to Miami either. I've been to Vegas. I've never been.
Two of those have been, most of those have been by choice because those were not my first places to go to because I've been other places. But when you have those, you think about those quintessential girls trips and having that fun in your 20s. And no, I didn't get pregnant early. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm like, oh, I had a kid so early and I didn't have the time. No, I just didn't plan right. And now I'm at a point where I have a family. So it's a certain level of responsibility and guilt that you feel in planning trips like that. But it's gotten to a point where I'm like, we're going to have another kid. I still have to focus on my career. What is the best time other than now for me to go and travel with my friends and try to enjoy myself a little bit? You know what I'm saying? While I still have my youth and I can still, of course you can travel your whole life, but while I'm still where I can go wild out and have a good time. And I feel like I'm kind of in that weird place where I kind of missed it, but I didn't miss it. And so I'm trying to catch up now, if that makes any sense.
Totally. And I mean, I think there's a lot of, and it's tough, right? Because when, life is all about like, trial and error. You try and hopefully it works, but if it doesn't, you try again. But I can definitely relate to, feeling like, I've been trying for quite some time now. And I still don't feel like I've had my big break. And this is not just in terms of like professionally. I mean, it is. Yes. I mean, I guess you should say, I can speak from personal experience about this particular thing as it relates to my professional life, as it relates to my personal life, as it relates to financial decisions and things like that. I feel like I've been trying for a lot of years now, and it hasn't worked. And having to deal with and process that, feeling that frustration and that defeat. And like, how many times am I going to be expected to keep on trying to get back on the horse, after all of my efforts to date have been unsuccessful?
Right.
And that's just the bottom line. And it's really easy to fall into, I'm just going to stop trying, or maybe this is just not in the cards for me. And that's something that I have, really been sitting with and dealing with, lately. Cause it's like at what point do you say, enough is enough? It's not always clear. And you want to, especially me as a person of faith and someone who's trying to, live out, what I believe in terms of like, feeling like God's never going to play me. And he has, a specific plan and a purpose designed and destined for me. And all of these things are going to be used, ultimately to bring me to that destiny and to, fulfill his purpose and intention for me. Like I get all that. And that's all the stuff that we say day and day and we read and we sing about it and we believe it. But, sometimes the rubber does meet the road and it's just like, all right, well, I've been trying now, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially I'm thinking specifically about like relationships now, right? And everybody's saying, it's all the cliche things, it's going to happen when you least expect it, girl. All that, like, we've heard that so many times. And it's like, I know, and I'm not saying I don't believe that, but part of me also feels like maybe I should start coming to terms with the fact that maybe, it's just not in the cards? Or is that like, you know, and then having to deal with, well, am I giving up? Am I compromising my faith? So I'm just saying all of that. And I'm not saying I have the answer. So I'm just trying to be honest about where I am with some of these things, and saying that I can totally relate to feeling, you know, in this,
like you falling behind,
and feeling this, and dealing with the frustration of, you know, having your expectations, you know, unmet, and then, you know, over and over again. And it makes you wonder, like, well, should I lower them? Or, you know, am I expecting the wrong things? Am I pursuing the wrong things? So you know, I guess I thought we should talk about it, because I'm sure that if we're having these experiences, other people are too. And just to kind of process it and think about it, you know, together, and hopefully encourage one another to kind of keep going and, you know, talk about some tools and ways that we can kind of walk that out. Do you want to say something else, or? Okay.
No.
So another layer of this is, you know, Janelle, I'm going to read a quote from the article, because I think Janelle really frames this in a way that I thought would make for some good discussion. She says, "We are always warring with time. We, as in, quote, me too. There's a palpable and normalized hurry imposed on Black women to perfect life early. The safety net to make the young and goofy mistakes humans make when they are young and goofy is rarely afforded to us. Our missteps scar our life resumes as opportunities gone to waste, and we are continuously reminded of them, particularly when the things we do later don't immediately flourish or succeed at all. Shouldn't we have done this? Could have done that? White women, by comparison, are allowed to discover themselves, experience failures and setbacks, and laugh about them at Panera over coffee and cinnamon scones with friends years later." And I thought life, so I thought that I wanted to talk about that. And is it different for us? Would you agree with Janelle that it's different for us as Black women or women of color, when it comes to this particular phenomenon, or are we all out here dealing with the same things, and why or why not?
Oh no, I agree with her 100%. I was watching an episode of Snapped. Told you I love me some Snap. And this white lady allegedly killed this dude. I don't know if she was dealing with him or whatever. And she got like a whole group involved, and like they beat him and they killed him. Right. So she was, you know, first she was arrested. Then they realized that the DNA didn't match the blood that was on her clothes. All right, boom, that wasn't her. Then they came back and realized, oh, this nigga had a bite mark on his hand. Okay, so it ended up matching her DNA. So yes, she ended up getting arrested again. She sat in prison for 11 years. She did all this reading or whatever, and then figured out how to get herself out, and she's out now, right? But I was looking at that episode, and I was like, this white woman is out of prison for murder. Like, this lady not only committed murder, but she planned it. It was an entire conspiracy. Like, it was a whole plan she put together with multiple people, and she was the ringleader of it. And she is now out walking free, hollering about her innocence and how she never killed this nigga, even though everything points to the fact that she killed this nigga. And it made me think, I was like, she's out here with her grandkids, living with her daughters, living her best life. Record fully expunged because of a loophole in the system and whatever else. And also within that episode, that lady had been, no, I'm sorry, this is another episode. There's another episode where this lady had been married and had 3 kids by the time she was like 25. And they brought out later on in the episode, because she killed her husband, and they brought out later on in the episode how they were a family that you would see at a PTA meeting. They were the family that dropped their kids off to soccer practice and this and that. Now, had that been a Black lady, you think they wouldn't have been talking cash shit about the fact that she had 3 kids by 3 different niggas by the time she was 23 years old, and then she turned around and killed her husband. We don't get to live those lives afterwards. I feel like they stain us forever. We don't ever get to have an expunged record. And I'm not talking about in the legal, tangible sense. I'm literally talking about our lives. We don't get to have an expunged record. And it gets frustrating. And it gets frustrating to hear people talk about how, the Black experience is something that, we try to paint to be as victims, and how we always want to be the victims, and racism doesn't exist in this and that and the third. But it shows every single day, especially with Black women, that we are not afforded those opportunities that everybody else is.
Yeah.
I hope I made any kind of sense in that.
I think it's definitely worth, you raised a great point in that, like, the nature, like, racism is a system. It's an ideology, and it's structured. It was set up for us to be, at a deficit. Like, we were not considered equal from the very beginning. And as such, if the institution of racism has kept certain barriers in place. So the safety net that Janelle alluded to the safety net that she mentioned in the quote, it's not just like, a financial safety net, or a professional safety net, or having, someone to kind of catch or have your back when it comes to certain things, like in your family or personal life. But it's actually like the system is set up to benefit certain people, and it acknowledges privileges that, everyone is not afforded. So I definitely think that is something that is is a great point to be raised. And when our parents and our families were raised and socialized during times where, we didn't have much. And I could totally see how we didn't have much. We were treated unfairly, unjustly, in terms of what we were able to have access to, in terms of not only just resources, but opportunities and information and education and resources. And we were literally abused and beaten and taken advantage of in such terrible ways, like such extreme ways, that I could totally see how that would make previous generations, like, risk averse. Like, you just want to live on your little plot of land and not cause any trouble, and, like, not rock the boat. I could totally see how people would feel that way. But, that has often trickled down generationally and manifested in us, feeling like we shouldn't take risk. And we have to live these cookie cutter, nice, neat lives, where, all I's are dotted and all T's are crossed. And when we, that's nice and it sounds good in theory, but life is just not set up that way. And when we make mistakes and when things don't work out like we plan, it's easy for us to take on and internalize, the negative, the disappointment, and judge ourselves harshly. And that judgment can often lead us to, limiting ourselves, so that that one time that it didn't work out keeps us from trying again. So, I think that the pressure that we have to do better, and to do better than our grandparents and parents, and to go further, is hard, it's hard to carry. It's a lot of weight to carry, because, you don't always feel like you have the tools. And I can people don't think about those kinds of things when you talk about the comparisons between, women, people of color, and, white people, so to speak. So I agree with Janelle, that there are layers, that history, layers of it that people of color have to navigate that white people don't. And it just makes us feel, it's a lot more for us to manage and deal with. But that being said, I think we should take pride in the fact that even through all of that, you know, we're doing it and we're doing it our own ways. And that's one, I guess that's a good segue. So our next question or the next point that we want to make is like, how do we process and work through the pressure and anxiety of these timelines and still flourish? Because we have great examples, right? So Janelle in her article makes mention of a lot of, you know, some of the Black women in our current, popular culture and current popular domains who are out here and making waves, quote unquote, later in life. So she talks about Tiffany Haddish, Regina Hall, Regina King, Oprah. You know, a lot of these people didn't start making moves until they were in their 30s and 40s. If you want to talk about like Hoda Kotb and, you know, and when I say making waves, I mean making a big splash, because I don't want to suggest that, you know, they were just coasting along and then they got their big break. These women were working really hard, and it just so happened that the big moment that happened on the main stage that we all know about happened later in life. But I'm not suggesting that they weren't working hard until later in life. But yeah, I guess the point that I'm trying to say is like, I think we should turn the conversation now to thinking how we process and work through these things, this pressure and this anxiety, and how we continue to move forward just in spite of it.
I think Auntie Jennifer is a wonderful example.
Jennifer Lewis.
Of someone.
Absolutely.
Jennifer Lewis, who has made her splash later in life. Like we said, her resume is long. Is long, and it started a while back with Broadway. However, for the roles that we really know Jennifer Lewis to have played, for what we really know her to be in, this happened later on in her life. I think starting in somewhere in her 30s. You know what I'm saying? And now she's really like getting her. I think Blackish is her biggest her biggest break. I want to say that's what she said, and she's now in her 50s. So I read an article actually in relation to this about falling behind in life on the Huffington Post. And I thought it was a really great quote. And it had some really nice points in the article, but it helps you to kind of resolve when you're starting to feel like you're not where you need to be. And it said there's a magic beyond us that works in ways that we can't understand. We can't game it. We can't 10-point list it. We can't control it. So I think constantly remembering the fact that we have zero control. Let me not say that. I'm not saying we don't have control over what happens in our life. Let me reframe what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we can't control the unforeseen circumstances that happen when we have goals and we have things that we've planned out. All we can do is try to roll with it and figure out the next best move in order for us to accomplish those goals. And I think what I have to offer is trying to remember not to beat ourselves up, and remember that there's so many other good qualities and other things that we've accomplished. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't reach or attain try to reach those goals or attain those goals that you've set for yourself. But if you try to remember all of the good things that you've done and not beat yourself up in the process of trying to accomplish those goals, it helps to make it more productive for myself.
I agree. I think that the first thing in like not beating yourself up is to just acknowledge. I think we should acknowledge the feelings when they come. It's just important to just not stay in those places. Like, I think it's okay to say, you know, this sucks. And I thought that I was going to be in a different place. I know for me, I didn't think that it was going to work out this way, or I didn't, you know, I wasn't anticipating being in this place at this time. Because, you know, you have to acknowledge it. But the important thing is moving past that and trying to surround yourself with information and people that are going to help, you know, and listen to you and comfort you through that. But then, you know, okay, sit and strategize with you about, okay, so what do we do from this point? And recenter.
Right.
Yeah. Recenter you and get you back thinking, you know, about, okay, yes, this is terrible, but let's try to, like, I had a doctor's appointment last week and I got some unfortunate news. You know, and it wasn't the total end of the world, but in that moment it felt like it was. And I had to call someone. And I was, you know, upset, and I just said, listen, I just got this news and I just need you to just help and sit and process it with me. And she was able to just she listened to me and she told me, you know, yes, this is, you know, not what we were expecting and not what we were hoping for. And then we sat and literally talk about, like, she pulled me out of the worry and the stress by reminding me, you know, that, you know, this is not the end of the world. This is not the most terrible thing. You have survived other terrible things. We will figure this out. And then, you know, because we're both, you know, share the same faith and, you know, hold ourselves accountable in that way, we were able to talk. Tell me this is what you learned today, but what do you already know? What do you already know about God? What do you already know that the things that he's already done for you? What do you know that he's not going to, you know, in the other times that you dealt with more difficult things than this, has he ever played you? Has he ever, you know, so she was able to pull me out of that. So, definitely thinking about, you know, we know the friends that we can call. They're friends who will sit with us and like, girl, me too. Let's just sit here and drink this wine, talk about how terrible it is. And we will have those moments where we need that. But then we also have relationships, or we should, if we are, if we don't, we should be working towards cultivating relationships with people who will say, yeah, that's terrible, but what are we going to do? You know, how let's pull each other up out of this and work toward, you know, if not a solution, let's work toward managing and navigating through this in a productive way, that keeps us looking forward. And then, you know, right. Not sitting and berating ourselves and beating ourselves up. And, you know, comforting us and saying, you know, this is what you only have control and responsibility for the things that you have control and responsibility for. There are things that are going to happen to you that you don't have responsibility for. So don't take on that responsibility. You just have to, you know, trust that it's happened, and, you know, it's happened for a reason, and it's going to teach us something, that's going to prepare us for whatever is coming next. And I know personally, and I mean, professionally, I can say, like I said, when I started my doctoral program, I felt a way about being one of the older girls in the program, because I had worked for 10 years before, you know, being the full-time student again. I was working and feeling like, dang, I'm sitting in here with girls who are fresh out of undergrad, and, you know, look at, you know, here I am, literally 5 to 8 years older than, you know, most of the people in this room. And it did make me feel ways, but I mean, the closer that we all, you know, as we continue to progress through the program, I began to realize that in many cases, you know, there was great value in the time that I spent. You know what I'm saying? Like, my experience, the things that I'd seen, it framed my choices and my decision making, and I had more confidence than some of the younger girls, and I was able to move in ways that were, you know, different from the younger girls, and it positioned me to be further along in other aspects. So it's also try to find ways to gain the perspective to see your situation differently. Okay, so this didn't happen the way I wanted to, but what is it? I mean, I know more, even though, yeah, I thought I'd be married by now, but all this time being single and dating has given me so much perspective and insight on who I am as a woman, that I feel like when the time comes for me to be in a relationship, it's going to be a stronger relationship, because I'm going to have a stronger sense of myself and who I am and what I want and what I need and what I like and what I don't like. And all that crazy time in relationship, you know, all that time of having to get to know each other in the relationship is not further complicated by me not knowing who I am, you know? And yeah, so I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking and I should shut up now. But the point that I'm trying to make is I think a good way for us to process and work through this is to acknowledge our feelings, and, you know, have them when we need to have them, take that time, but just be cautious of not getting stuck there. Did I say A or 1? I said A, right?
Right.
B, right?
A.
B, right.
2.
B, making sure that we have people around us who will, you know, acknowledge what our feelings are and be those safe havens for us to kind of say, man, this sucks. And I thought that it would be different. But, you know, not only be our safety nets, but to be our, you know, to coach us and pull us into the direction of like, all right, we're not going to stay here into this sucks place, but how can we move forward into like, all right, so let's do something about it space. And C,
right.
I think a good way of moving forward is thinking about and finding value in your current situation and thinking about, okay, so no, it didn't go exactly how I wanted it to go, but I learned a whole lot of stuff. Even if I learned what not to do, even if, you know, I learned a lot about me, I learned what is it? And I mean, it's okay to ask other people to help you think. If you feel like, girl, I can't think of one thing that's good about this, sit with somebody and ask them to help you. Or, you know, do some research, do some insight, read about other people's lives and read memoirs and autobiographies, because people tend to tell the truth about their struggles and the lessons that they learned. And, you know, you'll start to see that, okay, maybe I'm not the only one that has dealt with these kinds of things. And I mean, I pray about it a lot of times, most of the times when hard things happen to me, I'll be like, Lord, you're going to have to show me exactly what I need to learn through this, because I don't want to deal with this ever again. So, I mean, I don't know. I just hope that this really resonated with me. Shout out to Fram. This article really resonated with me. Like, I sat with it when I read it. Shout out to Mo, shout out to Jessica, shout out to Latoya, because these are the 3 women that sent it to me. After I read it, I sat with it and was really just like stewing in it all day yesterday, because I wanted to just sit and cry like, girl, yes, I know all about this. And, you know, I sat with Jade about it and we were trying to think about how to make it a conversation. So if it was horrible and we did too much talking, we're sorry, but we don't have the answers. We're just trying to, you know, talk about it in productive ways. So we hope that it's helpful to you, man.
When I lost my job at Sony, because where I'm at now, all right, I'll get to that. When I lost my job at Sony, I had worked, I told you, I have said this before, I worked a multitude of jobs and a multitude of careers early in life, trying to figure out, all right, do I want to go into sociology? Do I want to go into, you know, with social work? Do I want to go into environmental engineering? You know, and realize none of those things were for me. And then when I started working in the music industry, I started at Def Jam. I ended up at Sony. Licensing and strategic marketing was great. You know what I'm saying? I was in my lane. I was in my environment. It was everything that I wanted it to be. Everything that I was like, all right, this is what all these bullshit ass jobs, all of these positions that I've not been happy in, where I've had to endure this or that. Like, this is what it all led to. Working in a place that I enjoy working, doing something that I enjoy doing. And when I got laid off in my mid-20s and then realized the fall that the music industry was taking, and that might not be where I would end up, because the future of it has just been so shaky. It left me in a place feeling real lost, like really lost. And again, like I said, I've always had food behind me, but I really wanted to do that. Like, I really wanted to do that. And I felt like super, like I felt like an orphan when I lost my job and I couldn't figure out what the hell was my next step. And even now, even in the industry that I love being in, I still have moments where I'm like, yo, but you got like all these young people who have gone to culinary school and they've got that technique and they've got this and they've got that. But I'm like, but what helps me to put it all together and to really sit here, and like Keia said, it's very important for you to acknowledge the feelings. It's very important for you to sit there and say, okay, I've been disappointed for this reason, because it helps you to figure out a plan for the future. And it helps you to appreciate all of those rough times that you've had to deal with in figuring out what that path is. And I'm very appreciative of all of the stories, of all of the coworkers, of all of the environments that I've worked in the past, because it helps me truly appreciate what I'm doing now. And I think being able to appreciate that, I don't know if I would have been able to appreciate this the way that I would have had this been maybe 10 years ago and I didn't deal with that severe disappointment. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, so I've been a frustrated university administrator for 10 years. I mean, I loved the job. It wasn't like I didn't love the work. I felt like I was good at the work. I was able to impact a lot of student lives and even affect change at my institutions. And it was awesome. It was super fulfilling. But my frustrations were always with, issues of access to information and, different issues of infrastructure at the institutional level and things that policy, both at the institutional level and broader than that, larger levels than that. And, while I was dealing with all that frustration and feeling, like, well, what do we do now? What do we do this? All of that is really the context that framed the questions that I had going into graduate school. It gave me insight that people who had never worked in those environments before, they maybe have read about, but have never lived. So like me living the experience, really gave my research shape, because I had perspective and insight that, people didn't really know, other people didn't know about. And this really was it's affected the way that I write. It affects the way that I speak, the way that I engage. It affects what I pay attention to, the kinds of questions that I ask. And that kind of lived experience is you can't, it's not something that you can get from reading about. Like, people will read about what I write and they'll know about it, but they haven't lived it. So they don't have the level of focus or attention or detail that I can bring to a certain thing. And I had learned that all of that experience really makes me the researcher that I am. And it really positions me to do the work that I do and what I can bring to the table that other people may not be able to bring. So me being a Black woman in those spaces, me being a young Black woman in those spaces, me being someone who was raised in a single parent home, someone, being first generation in the sense that, there are things that if you sit and think, you can think about, you can find the value, you can find, like Jade was saying, our experience have a way, even if they're challenging and difficult, they have a way of, giving us information and perspective that we otherwise wouldn't have gotten. So that's why we can say that, nothing is really wasted. And I have to remind myself of that, like frustrate all of these horrible dates, all of these horrible dates, all of these stupid questions that people ask, like all of these things, you know what I'm saying? All the mistakes that I made with regards to my spending, my saving, where I put money, all of these things are going to help me in the long run. And I know that that's really cliche to say, and we all roll our eyes because we've heard it so many times before, but that's just the real of it. Tiffany Haddish's book and all of her comedy, bits and things about her stand-up, they're all about live experiences that she's had. And she's found a way to tell her story in a way that's funny and engaging. And we can connect to it because we know that she lived it. Right. So like, hopefully all of the things, I didn't say hopefully, but all of the things that we struggle with, right? Whether it be, whether you're in a job right now that you're just not all that enthused about, you got it because you thought you needed to get it and all of that. And you don't really feel fulfilled by it, and you're trying to figure out what to do next, use all of your frustration to help show you what possibly, what your options are as far as what are the next steps. You know what I'm saying? Like all that stuff is not, it's not for naught. It's not for waste.
And it's not just, it's not just career wise. Like we've spoken hugely from a career standpoint. And I know we continue to speak from a career standpoint, but like Keia said, in life, she talks about dating. Financially for myself, I fucked my credit up young, being stupid. I don't have bad credit because I have a rack of student loans. I don't have a rack of debt, period. But it was just being careless and being dumb. And while I can sit here and say, girl, you could have fixed this shit years ago, I now like I have taken different steps to rectify, because part of credit, we will have an entire episode on finance.
We're
Don't
not
think
ignoring
that we
you. We
read
just
all of your.
We have the right information, the right
you.
people on deck to help us
right.
have a useful conversation, and know that I will be listening very intently, taking copious notes so that I can get my life in order as well.
So just know that it's coming, but we are making sure that it is right. But for me personally, doing my research and looking into investments and CDs and all of the things that I wasn't educated on, because my parents didn't have that education and they didn't learn it until later in life. I'm now, and I tried to take steps to fix my credit years ago, and then I ended up I got a loan to pay off the little debt that I did have, and then I was going to pay that loan and be done, and my credit would be clean, right? I said I tried to do this like 10 years ago. Ended up losing my job right after I got the loan, and it just all got fucked up. But now I'm at a place where I am in the process of fixing everything. I'm fixing it the proper way, and I'm trying to build for the future. And I'm much more appreciative, and I pay a lot more attention to what I'm doing, and educating myself in finance and figuring out, how I can have a long-term plan for my family, and my child doesn't have to worry about, certain things that I had to worry about and so forth. She ain't got to work 4 and 5 jobs in college so that she doesn't have student loan, like trying to figure those types of things out, making sure me and my husband have a good retirement. He's focused on the same thing. Like, we're really appreciative and paying a lot more attention as we take these necessary steps to try to rectify those things in our lives. And so while I get frustrated, I do take a step back, and I'm thankful because I know that I'm doing the right thing. I know I've taken my time with it. And I read you all that quote earlier, but if we can round it out, sis, it wasn't the full thing. And I think that this is great. And whatever it is that you may be dealing with in your life that you feel like you've fallen behind financially, career-wise, family, dating, marriage, traveling, seeing the world, just whatever goals that you've set that you feel like you haven't reached yet. Again, in this Huffington Post article, and I'll make sure that I put the link in the description box, it says there's a magic beyond us that works in ways that we can't understand. We can't game it. We can't 10-point list it. We can't control it. We have to just let it be, to take a fucking step back for a moment, stop beating ourselves up into oblivion, and let the cogs turn as they will. One day this moment will make sense. Trust that, and give yourself permission to trust that. So hope this was able to resonate with you guys. Shout out to Fran. And we weren't just talking all over the place. You have anything, sis? You want to close?
I guess. Well, I really like the way that Janelle closed the article.
Okay.
We'll link it so you guys can read the whole thing. But she says, we just turned the corner into 2018. And the reset of another year will surely flare some time and age-related fears and inadequacies. Inevitably, another friend will call me in frenzied tears about the betrayal of a timeline, maybe while she's setting goals or framing what this fresh set of 365 days should look like. I'm not above being the friend doing the weepy calling to someone else either. Once upon a time, I dreamed of being on a 30 under 30 list of successful writers. Then when that didn't work out in time, a 40 under 40 list. Now I just anticipate the rich surplus of blessings that accumulate in the holding pattern. I know that God better cash out. We've been waiting. So shout out to Janelle. I really, you're girl, you got to get out of my business. You was all up in it in this article. We will leave both the links to the article that Jade mentioned and this article as well in the description box. You guys weigh in. Let us know your thoughts. Thank you guys for sending, everyone that sends the emails about, I read all of those when you guys respond to the content, of the show and add your 2 cents. And I love to see the discussion continue on Twitter and Instagram, on other platforms, on the Facebook group. So continue to do that. Y'all know how to reach us. All of our social media, handles are in the description box as well. So I guess we can move on now to Honesty Box.
Yes, let's move on to the honesty box.
Honestly?
Truly. It's time for the honesty box. Oh, shit. Sorry. Hey, Keia and Jade. I love the show. I started listening while I make the long 4-hour drive to go home to my mom's house in San Antonio, Texas on breaks from school. Sorry, this might be... Hey, Mom. This might be kind of long. I'm currently attempting to be on Team Type and Fast, pursuing a master's in communication. My program is 2 years. I'm in this weird position of not being a first year or a second year grad student. I graduated with my undergrad degree of multimedia in May 2016. Due to a nauseating waiting game beyond my control, I wasn't able to start grad school until spring 2017. Because of this, I started technically a semester behind, as regular admittance begins with classes in the fall. This past semester, I took the pre-req classes that most take in their first semester. Finally, I can breathe as I turned in my last paper a few days ago. Last semester and this semester absolutely kicked my ass. I didn't turn in assignments on time or was a few minutes late in submitting. I work a ton of small part-time jobs on campus to have a decent, not really paycheck. I'm exhausted in every way possible. I'm completely disappointed in myself. A class last semester and a class this semester with the same teacher, I didn't fully complete the final paper. This semester wasn't as bad. I was close, but time got away from me. Along with my self-disappointment, I feel inadequate to be in grad school and frustrated. I don't know the end game as far as what I want to do. To paint the picture, I honestly feel I'm in the dark with arrows shooting without a clue as to what's in front of me. I'm not happy writing all these papers with classes I don't care about. Any advice on how to find my happy place again or see at least a few feet in front of me?
What's her name? Did she say? We supposed to say? All right. Well, let me
No, she didn't.
I'm going to call you sis. All right, sis. I'm hearing a couple of things. First of all, you got to let that... You led with the fact that you feel behind because you started a little bit later. I want to first tell you that when you earn your degree, no one's going to ask you how long it took you to learn it. Like whatever degree you get, whether it's a undergrad, master's, PhD, all they're going to say, when you say, I have my master's in, what is it, communications, whatever, child. I heard you. I was paying attention. Yes. I have my master's in communications and multimedia. Yes. No one's going to say, girl, how long it take you to get that? They're going to say, oh, that's what's up. So whatever it is, like, I feel like you're putting a lot on yourself for this. I think that, and you've taken all the fun out of it. You don't just, typically, I should say, you don't hear people going into graduate school and just arbitrarily picking programs. Something initially drew you to communications and multimedia. And I think you've lost sight of what that initial something was. And you might need, if you find that again, that might help you to figure out A, what your end game is. And B, it will give you the fuel and energy and inspiration that you need to push through the difficult aspects of your graduate program. As far as the work, very few of us, I was going to say nobody, but maybe there are some, the very few of us enjoy graduate school. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, thinking broadly, we love learning generally. We like knowing how to do things and getting skills and insight. But the act of going to graduate school in terms of sitting in classes that are 2 to 3 hours at minimum, listening to professors who are not always engaging and thoughtful and even respectful, and, you know, sitting in classrooms with people who you may or may not like, having to write really long papers and stay up late hours to do it, all while trying to work and sustain yourself and put food on your table and pay your rent. It's just not fun by nature. It's not set up to be fun. I get this question often from a lot of people when it comes to graduate school. It's hard work. There's nothing about it that is supposed to be, you know, running through the flowery fields and skipping. It is hard. It's hard. It's supposed to be hard. You having a master's degree suggests that you have content knowledge about specific things, and you could be considered an expert about that, and they don't just give that away. You're going to have to prove to them that you know what you say that you know. It's going to require you to do things like write long papers and take tests and contend with people who you don't necessarily want to contend with in order to do it. So I guess my advice to you is to try to find and rekindle your love affair with whatever it is that brought you to communications and multimedia. Whatever your big outside the box dream was, and you was like, man, I'm gonna get my degree and that's gonna help me get there. Try to remember that and keep your eyes focused on that, because you're gonna need that inspiration to get you through the sucky parts of the process, because there will be sucky parts of the process. Anybody who tells you that there won't be parts of graduate school that you absolutely loathe, disdain, and hate, is lying to your face, and you should not have further conversation with him or her. You just shouldn't. It's because they're lying. It's going to be tough, but it's absolutely feasible. You just have to set your intention and work as hard as jacks to get it. I am concerned about you not, turning in your final papers or, falling behind in your grades, because that's going to, you know what I'm saying? Like if we might need to have more conversation about what that's really about. Is it a matter of you not understanding? Are you frustrated and that's keeping you from wanting to do it? But if you want to do this, you got to do it right. You can't half-ass it. It's not going to be something, I don't know what your expectation was, but I'm not going to say, oh girl, you should just quit. Unless you sit back and think big picture and think your long-term goals, and this doesn't align like it did at one point, then that might be a conversation. But if this is really what you want to do, and I feel like it is, then you just got to make yourself and discipline yourself in order to do it right. Nobody wants to half-ass nothing.
Right. And don't wait. And it's expensive.
Hello? Let's say that louder. Say that one more time.
It's expensive as hell, and it's time consuming. And so if you are going to half-ass it, I agree with Keia. I'm not going to tell you to quit. And I feel like you've just kind of reached like a really stuck place where you are. But there is, like Keia said, there's something that drew you. So there's something of you that wants to do it. But if there is no part of you that truly wants to do this, and this is why you are piddling around and fucking off, then you need to really step back and figure that out so that you're not continuously wasting time and money.
Right.
And if there are people that you need to have proper conversations with to try to help you, to navigate and kind of frame what it is that you're trying to do, or to help you even figure it out, because you're in a place, it sounds like, where you can't figure it out, then summon that help. You know what I'm saying? Reach out.
It's available. It's absolutely available to you.
You got to get out of your own head and out of your own way.
Right. And I mean, just as an aside to the people who are listening to this, graduate school is not something that you just enter in wandering aimlessly and blindly and just thinking you're going to bump into, your career, without any kind of sense of, oh, well, I guess I'll just do this. It doesn't work that way, especially when this is something you should be intentional about from the beginning. It's okay for, your ideas and your interests, they will continue to grow and change and evolve with you. So I'm not saying that have one strategy in mind and write it in cement. I'm saying you should think very intentionally and purposefully about what it is that you want to do and find strategies to make that happen. And if graduate school is a part of the strategy, then you need to be just as intentional about finding the right program that meets your needs and fits with your goals, desires, your personality, and who you are. And then work like hell to get through it.
Right.
And don't just think that when you are frustrated and tired, that this is a sign that maybe this is something that you shouldn't do. Like, it's not going to be easy. Don't take every challenge or every difficult thing as a sign that this is not what you should be doing. But you should definitely I just felt like I needed to say, because I get a lot of questions about people who say they want a PhD, and then I ask them what they wanted it, and they're just like, I don't know. It's like, you don't want a PhD. You want one to say that you have one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we got too much work to do as a people to be out here not knowing.
Wandering aimlessly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too much work to be done out here. And like Jay said, all this stuff costs time and money. We don't buy cars and houses and all other major investments that we make. You don't just go into the real estate office and say, I think I want, what is it? How many bedrooms you want? I don't know. Like, you know exactly what you want when you want it.
You want ranch style? You want 2-star?
Exactly.
I'm not sure.
Just whatever. And if you don't have the specificity, like your goals and your dreams and they should have specificity so that you can so you can have like, real, so you need that context and that detail so that you can make the right strategies and the right moves going forward. I'm not saying that you have to, iron out every specific, every detail, fine tooth detail, but you should have, the degree that I didn't get the PhD so that I could be Dr. Keia on Instagram. I got the PhD because there were things that I wanted to know and learn and problems that I wanted to be a part of solving. And in order for me to get my seat at the table, I needed to have what the people already sitting at the table had.
Right.
So
you got to be definitive, sis. You got to.
Whatever it is that drew you to this program, we got to figure out and get hairline, laser sharp focus on what it is. Right. That too. But you need that level of focus on whatever the heck about communications and media relations or whatever, my memory, but whatever it was about that drew you to the program initially, that drew you to the thought initially, you got to get back in sync with that and fall in love with it again. And if that's not it, then maybe it is time for you to pack your things and go.
Yeah, and figure out what is it.
What is it? And it won't be no shame, or you won't be the first one to have to make that decision either. So don't feel bad about that. It's
you come sit at my table.
And be like, let's sit at that didn't work. Let's try it again. Table. There's plenty of room over here for that.
I'm queen. I'm right here at the head. We welcome you with no judgment or shame.
There is room. We are waiting here with open arms. Like, girl, I tried this 6 years ago and it was a terrible decision. So there's no shame in that. There's no shame in doing any of this because we all are figuring it out. This is what our show Getting Grown is all about. So,
yep. And shout out to my heat.
Yes. Shout out to the heat in Brooklyn for cutting on because it could have been another way. Word. Let's move forward because this is a long ass episode. But hopefully y'all will have plenty to discuss and listen to on your commutes and what have you. But all right, let's get into these petty peeves.
And I want to be very responsible of the things I say to my sister because everybody know I can be real petty. P-E to the T-T-Y, honey.
It's time.
Run, sing. All right.
That was not a run. That
yes,
was
it was a wall slide.
that was me being Mariah Carey.
Oh, girl.
Petty's time for petty peeves. So my petty peeve is my own this week. It's about childish palettes. I spoke about it on my Instagram. And I know that there are certain people who are going to feel attacked. Sorry, Nikki. But people who say I don't like onions and things in their food. I don't like celery. I don't like onions. I don't like peppers. Oh my God. What is that in my face? Is that leaves? What is this? I'm like, grow the fuck up. You like jambalaya.
Yeah, man.
You like etouffee. So do you know how those things start? They start with the Holy Trinity. You got to put peppers and you got to put onions and you got to put celery and you got to put the base of things. And this is what builds flavor and creates flavor. And I had a man ask me on Instagram, on Twitter, he was like, because I was talking about bay leaves. I guess there's this whole Chipotle thread where it's a bunch of people who have taken pictures of the bay leaf in their food and been like, oh, this is disgusting. It's unsanitary. There's leaves in my food. And it makes me really sad for them in their childhood.
They've never
They don't know.
They just have never had a real encounter with flavor, and that's really
they haven't, and that's not your fault. But what is your fault is the fact that onions and peppers are in the base of everything. They're in the base of chocolate cake. They're in the base of everything.
Chocolate cake.
And if you got to grow up, man. You gotta expand your palate. Nobody's asking you to eat snake or bear. You know what I'm saying? I don't eat those things either. But as far as simple things that help to build what your food becomes, grow up and eat them. They're not gonna kill you. So that's my petty peeve.
Tell them why you're mad.
That's it.
All right. I too have a petty peeve of my very own, and I would like to speak to. It's about hair, because hair is important to me.
Yes, it is,
and it's also about hygiene, and that should be important to everybody. So I hope that the natural hair Nazis don't come for me or my head or my face or my hair or anything like that.
Shea butter brigade.
I too. And you know what I'm saying? I too have natural hair.
Same.
And I understand that, there is a social movement, the natural hair movement. And, we love you guys and we thank you for all of your informational videos and blogs and things that we have been able to Google and get insight into how best to take care of our hair. And I understand that, this do-it-yourself thing, it's really just taking the world by storm, and I think that we all should be empowered to do things for ourselves. I do also believe that in our quest forward, we should never lose sight of the fundamental things that are just basic, that are basic and essential to having healthy hair and healthy bodies. That being the absolute necessity of carefully and consistently shampooing your hair. Now, I understand that there are certain people who believe that shampoos are not good or healthy for your hair, and we use conditioners, exclusively for cleansing purposes. And I do understand that has its place. But at some point, I believe that surfactants are necessary in actually emulsifying the dirt and oil from our scalps. You must cleanse your hair on a consistent basis. Why? My petty peeve is about stinky scalps.
Oof.
I don't want to smell your scalp, sis. We know. I sat in the choir stand at church yesterday and I was accosted by the smell of somebody's scalp. I mean, I don't know, I don't know. Now the girls we keep our wigs and weaves and bundles and protective styles for a very long time. And I don't know that many of us make keeping our own hair clean and healthy a priority. Our own hair clean. You have to clean your own hair underneath your protective styles. Yeah. Otherwise, your scalp will smell like salt and vinegar chips, which is what I was forced to contend with yesterday.
Or earring backs.
And I just don't feel like potato peels and smelly socks. We don't why does your hair smell like a sock full of nickels, sis? We don't want, we don't want and I'm of the belief that your hair can't smell like that and you not smell it. But
nah, there's no smell that comes off of you that you don't smell when other people smell it. Somebody had not washed their hair for a very long time. And it bothered me to the extent where I felt like I needed to say something today. Girl, if you have braids and you got to go back to 93 and throw some sea breeze on them joints, whatever you got to do, cleanse your scalp.
I'm telling you, telling you, use some shampoo, sis. Oh, that product, that conditioner clogs up your pores. Yeah. It really, and I'm all for it. And I co-wash my hair often now, especially since it's bleached and I'm trying to care of it, but at least once a week I have to use, and you can use a sulfate free. You can, there are non-harsh, there are shampoos without harsh chemicals that adequately clarify and clean your hair. Please do that.
You can do apple cider vinegar rinse. You just
be careful with that too, because you will smell like apple cider vinegar.
Absolutely.
But
there are steps to
there are steps. Yes. Make sure that you don't. Don't just douse your hair down with the brag, sis.
No. Look up the regimen.
Yes, look up the instructions for how to properly do that. But at the same time, we've gotten away from, washing our hair on a regular basis because, we don't have to do that. We clarify. We don't comb through with our combs. We use our fingers, all of these things that we do. And I'm not here to tell you what not to do. I am here to tell you that don't nobody want to smell salt and vinegar chips every time you scratch your scalp.
Boom. That's it.
That's all.
We don't Blue Magic buildup is gross. It don't smell good. It smells like old mops. So do something about that.
Water.
Mop water. When you got the old mop, it starts smelling like throw up. Like that's what it's not. No. Change your mop heads. Wash your hair.
1,000 times no. Wash your hair. Wash your hair often.
I wash my hair and I use a comb. Wide tooth, but I use it. So
I use a comb as well because I'm not above it.
And my head is cool. You know what I'm saying? It's groovy over here.
It's healthy. It's thriving.
And it's clean.
My edges, it's clean and it smells amazing. I thank you all for listening.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Getting Grown. Make sure you're sending your kitchen table talk suggestions, honesty box questions, and petty peeves to gettinggrownpodcast@gmail.com. All of the information will be provided in the description box. Thank you for sitting through this entire episode. If you did.
We appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Word. Yeah, and that's all I got. We got some fun stuff coming, so make sure you stay tuned for some announcements. And that's it. That's all I got.
Yes, ladies and germs. Make sure that you're drinking your water, minding your business, moisturizing, because your black will in fact crack if it's dry.
Happy Martin Luther King Day.
King celebrate for the king.
Bye.